Hey guys, it's Trinity, and you're listening to Esoteric Truth Radio. This is my third attempt at this recording because, just because you guys heard me before, this is something that's confused me along the way. So I want both of us to have this kind of conversation and see where we can come up with this and tell me if you think it makes sense. So I'm sitting around scrolling, tired of this doom scrolling nonsense. And I forgot about a kid named Max Logan or Laughlin, and he was 13-year-old at the time, and he made a viral video, I don't know, 15 years ago, and he was discussing that in 2008, that our dimension, what CERN did. Okay, let me get back to CERN because I forgot about that part. Anyway, so CERN is a crazy, crazy place. I do not want this whole thing to be about CERN. You could look it up yourself. This is the Large Hadron Collider. But I want to tell you what happened in 2008. So I lived out in the country, right, where I only had satellite internet. So I didn't get like really good speeds or anything like that until everybody was asleep. So apparently at like 10 o'clock at night, I'm watching this, and all I'm looking at is a bunch of scientists sitting down on chairs and staring at screens, just waiting for this thing to happen. So when everybody's jumping up and down, everybody's super excited. I don't know what the hell they're excited about. I just know history was made. So this kid is saying that in 2008, whatever experiment that they did caused a rift in a way where our timeline was destroyed. Stick with me. He said it was destroyed. He said that that's also the reason why we're going through the Mandela effect. So a lot of us are in disagreement about the things that we see with the Mandela effect, right? We got mirror, mirror on the wall, then we have magic mirror on the wall. We have these, we want to say that these are tiny things. When I looked further into what he was saying, he did say that in 2008, our dimension was destroyed. He was like, we changed. It was us. So now I'm just going to go off on my own theory based on what he said and he explained. A lot of us today on this planet are completely divided about not just things like the Mandela effect, but about the way the world is going. We live in the United States. I know that I have other listeners that are not from here, but I know that they can see it. And I know that there's things going on where they're at too. But I'm going to focus mostly on the United States. If we have a complete division on what's real, when people say they saw the movie Shazam, and then everybody's like, oh, that movie didn't exist. I know the movie existed, because you can't miss a movie like that. When you come up with this thing and then they show you physical evidence, I think the biggest question out of everything going on is who's from the original dimension. Is it those of us who think that the movie existed, or those that don't? Some of us are not just from here. And I think that that's where the uncomfortable conversation comes from, where we're seeing the chaos that's happening. There's no way in one universe that people are pro Trump and then people are not pro Trump. What he's doing can only be explained by a dimension where it was completely acceptable. You cannot get millions upon millions of people. And I want to do a survey. Actually, when I'm done here, I'm going to go and I'm going to look up the weirdest Mandela effects. And then I'm going to put up a survey and see who sees something completely different. I'm going to put the basic stuff. And of course, whatever I put there, there's going to be people that do not see it or don't remember it that way. I want to do that. And then I want to see how many people are pro MAGA, who are pro the war, who are pro all of these things, who also have a different, what do you call it? I don't know, a different opinion, or are part of MAGA. They're part of MAGA. I'm not part of MAGA. Is there a way that I saw Shazam and they didn't? Like, I think there should be like this whole poll where we try to find out if there is legitimately a difference. I don't think anybody's actually asked that question. I think that if we started, instead of just debating both of these things, we should start asking each other what it is that we believe in. Are you religious? Are you not religious? I think that the similarities and then the differences by who would have been here and who's new here, I think that that's an actual way to gauge, to actually find out. I mean, I think that even if we did that, first of all, I think it's a genius. But I think that if we even did that, that still doesn't explain who's from the original universe. But I think that if we get that figured out, I don't think it fucking matters. I don't think it matters. But there's no way that there are so many people that see the world in the complete opposite way. Like, we have to ask the basic questions. How you call it? And it should be anonymous. I don't want people to have to say, I'm racist or I'm this. I mean, a lot of people are showing it, but I don't think people are going to be comfortable just putting it there. I'm going to try to find a way to make it anonymous. But I want to ask those questions. If we're to believe that there's infinite universes, right, there has to be one that doesn't have racism. There has to be one where God exists. There has to be another one where God doesn't exist. All of these things have to be different. But if we're to have a clear cut understanding that our world is completely divided on things like C3PO having a completely gold body and then one has a gold body but has a silver leg, to me, that's a huge. I don't know why I go to that. I didn't never see Star Wars. I don't give any. Listen, if you have a problem with that, I don't care. I won't watch it. I never have. But when I found out about it, that's a big difference. Forget about the cornucopia, Fruit of the Loom. Forget about the whatever on the Chick-fil-A site. Nobody cares. That to me is one of the most important ones. One, because the movie is as popular as it is. Two, you cannot make a mistake like that. You cannot. That means you would have had to see that same thing in a movie. You would have had to see it in, I mean, all the movies, but you would have had to see it in the movie. You would have had to buy the toy. Your friends would have had to have the same toy. A silver leg is not something really small. That's huge. I even when I saw it and I didn't see the movie, I was like, that shit looks weird. Who else saw that? What are your opinions on basic life issues? Because I honestly think we could figure out what our true difference is, and whether Max's theory about the destruction of one of our dimensions is actually fact. I think that that's how we figure that out. Because to me, I know that there are so many people when you talk about MAGA people, and yes, I'm going with that because this is in this country. I think that that's what the biggest division is. They seem so comfortable. You watch TV and the politicians, they're just lying like it, but they're doing it like it's natural. They're doing it like this was the natural order of things. And those of us that are like, I'm sorry, are we in crazy world? Maybe when what like I said, I don't know if we're in the same dimension or not. I think that there's a big difference. I think that some of us naturally don't believe that this is the natural order of things, that it is not supposed to be this way because it doesn't feel right. But if you talk to people that believe in this administration, that are pro Trump, that are pro all of the chaos that's going in the world, how is it that they don't see anything wrong? Like it's their natural order of things. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Put your comment in the link under this video or this show, because I really, really, really think that if we ask these basic questions, we could find out. And not just the MAGA thing. You know, are you racist? You know what I mean? Like, if that stuff happened and we were aware of it. So, okay, one more example, and then I'm gonna go. Take racism because it's a worldwide problem. Sorry, it's a worldwide issue. What if, and we know that this was happening forever, right? Am I going to talk about millions of years ago? No, because I wasn't there. If anybody wrote a book about this shit happening millions of years ago, they're stupid because nobody knows. I don't care if there's a cave painting. Nobody cares. We have no idea what happens after a certain amount of time. Then they're all just opinions. That's it. That's how I feel. I don't care. If back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I go as far back as we possibly can that we can prove in that part of history, if that was always the same thing, there has to be a point where, if we say that slaves were bought here, there has to be a point in time where black people weren't brought here, where they weren't enslaved here, where wherever they were was thriving, which we know that it was, but that it was thriving. And that is how we get people now that are, we need our reparations. We're not supposed to be this way. You took us. I always found it interesting that all throughout history, I mean, throughout recorded history, that we've had this problem with multiple races. This is not just a black thing. This is a whole everybody thing had to deal with this at some point. Is that new? Is there a point? Is there a time where that didn't exist? You know what I mean? Like maybe we've been dimension hopping for a while, and then the biggest point or the biggest part of it where it stuck would have been in 2008. So leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna try to find a way. I'm gonna try to find a way today to come up with some way of an anonymous. There's got to be something. There has to be some. I really think that if we connected the dots, that we could find who's from what dimension. And I don't mean like we could figure out who was here first, because I don't think that's possible. But we could definitely start making more correlations to the theory of what happened in 2008. Because the division is so big. Like now, everything going on has become worldwide. This isn't an isolated problem anymore. This isn't just a United States problem anymore. This is a worldwide problem. And I think that if we ask, a certain number of questions, and then we base it with people the complete opposite, not just, oh, do you like Cheeto and do you not? Ask deeper questions. How else do you feel about things like this? Like we know the basic stuff, they're just mean and not that bright and mostly racist and bigoted, right? But ask them different questions. You know, how comfortable do you really feel with everything that's going on? Are you just going with the pack? Deep down inside, are you really against this, but if shit went too far and you can't go back anymore? I think we could honestly find out if they're comfortable in their skin and they're comfortable with everything, and you cannot ask them anything else, and their brain is just cemented in it. I think that we can find out how our dimensions were destroyed and who came from where. Again, I got to express that, not where we're going, because I don't know who's in the original universe. Because if they're super comfortable and we're not super comfortable, that doesn't explain which universe is what. I just think that the division is far deeper. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I love you guys. I'm going to try to come up with this later on. If you want, leave me a comment. Tell me how you feel about this. If you can, his name is Mac. Okay, Max. I'm going to spell his last name because I know I'm not saying it right. Loughan. So just put his name and then in a search, and then put smartest kid in the world, and you can see all of his videos. So, all right, I'm gonna see you guys later. I know this is a weird one, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. All right, guys. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.